Greetings, brothers and sisters in Christ. This weekend we celebrate the 25th Sunday of Ordinary Time. We are in the 16th chapter of Luke. And today we hear a story about two characters. One is the master who has the wealth, and the other is the one who takes care of the master's wealth, his manager, if you will. The Bible calls him a steward. For those of us who are trying to live a stewardship way of life, today's gospel is key for us to understand. A steward is one who takes care of something that belongs to someone else. And in today's parable, the steward has been one who has not been taking care of his master's wealth well. So the master comes to him and he says, "Give me an accounting of your stewardship." It's a haunting and a beautiful question for you and for me. Imagine if the Lord came to us and said, "Give me an accounting of how you're taking care of all of the stuff that I've given you." So the principles of stewardship, we find them in the Bible. Everything is God's. God is the creator of everything. God is the gift giver of everything. Everything you and I have belongs to God. My very breath, the beating of my heart, my life, my possessions, my world, none of it is mine. Everything is God's gift. Therefore, our response is to take care of what God has given to us. So I try to take care of my life, which is God's life in me. I try to take care of the possessions that I'm entrusted with. I try to take care of the relationships that I have. All of that in good standing. So if the Lord stood in front of you and said, "Give me an accounting of your stewardship," how would you be able to respond to that? There's a perfect formula in the U.S. Bishop's document, Stewardship, a Disciple's Response. It's many years old now. I invite you to look it up online. It's a very spiritual document that helps us in a practical way to figure out, how do I take care of what God has given to me? And I take all that to prayer. Even my time is not mine. It's a gift that God gives me. So how do I use that time? Those principles are key. In today's parable, Jesus is addressing his disciples, but he says that the manager is called in front of the master. And the word actually used for master is a Greek word, kyrios, which means Lord. So we really do have an image of Jesus standing in front of us saying, "Give me an accounting of what you're doing with my Father's gifts that are in you." Another way to understand this parable is to go to the first reading today from the prophet Amos. Amos is the prophet who speaks most clearly about our responsibility to take care of what's been entrusted to us, to take care of the least and the littlest, the poor among us. So Amos says very clearly, "Be careful about trampling upon the needy." Our first step is to be able to cultivate the ability to see from the perspective of the poor, and then we act on their behalf. In our Catholic theology, that's a preferential option for the poor. How is your stewardship? How do we take care of our neighbor?